moment is here.
It's here.
The present.
The present.
The beginning of the filming of the Creators Code podcast. I've been waiting on it. Hopefully she has. I know you guys have been. Have you been waiting on it?
I have.
She has. Ladies and gentlemen, everyone has been waiting on it. Your mother, your uncle's ex-girlfriend from 3 states over. Yes. They've all been waiting on this episode. So welcome. Let the applause play if I'm actually not lazy enough to leave it out. Let the applause play. Otherwise,
click the applause button. I don't see how you could be lazy about it.
I might just not want to just do it, honestly.
Oh, okay. I feel like it's kind of necessary, but that's just me.
I mean, I'm putting this episode out it's rushed. It feels rushed.
I mean, you don't have a button for that on Premiere?
It's an editing process. It's not. That's not your forte, apparently. So
it's not.
Oh my gosh, it's live. We're active. Hopefully the audio is not utter trash. I was like,
I don't think so. We just spent a whole 20 minutes testing the audio. It better not sound like trash. Better not. Yeah, she's like, I hope not.
She said, waste my time.
Look.
Yeah. Sarai, thank you for being a part of this first episode. I'm so excited to be here. We have our set somewhat decorated by Flush Studios.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I really do. I was not expecting to be co-hosting this first episode at all. So for that, I am appreciative. I think it's going to be fun.
Clap that up, co-hosting the first episode.
Yes.
Welcome to the Creators Code podcast. This is the place where we are already aware that we're creators. And if we're not, you're going to become pretty aware. So it's for a certain type of person.
Who's it for?
It's for someone that understands or seeking to grow, seeking to evolve, seeking to become a better creator, right?
Yeah.
We all create whatever it is we create. Our job, whatever we're at, our current state of our body, energy.
Yeah.
How much money we got in the bank. Our sense of peace. Everything, right? Essentially.
Yeah.
Right? We don't create the numbers on our hairs on our head, but
per se. Well, no, we don't. I thought about that from when you get locks. Some people are really intentional about that.
Okay.
Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, but no one really cares. I mean, we create our life. That's the goal. That's the point. And my tagline is learn the code to creating the life that you love. So I talked about creating a little bit. I'm going to talk more about it, but we create regardless. So wherever you're at, you've been creating. That's that, right? What we want to work on, because we're going to create, is the code. The code, Sarai.
The code.
Yeah, the code. So when I say code, I mean the philosophy we live by, the path we walk. So code, if you look up the definition, you think of programming. You code, there's, I don't code.
Kind of like a system.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I got that.
Yeah. So we're wired to be a certain way each day, right? And so if we're not at the control of who we're becoming, then something is. Something else is programming us, right? And so this is all about stepping behind that curtain and changing your code consciously.
Yes.
And some people do that, but they do it in a very low level.
Could you elaborate on that? What do you mean a very low level?
They do it in a way where they're essentially just not getting the results they want. They're still experiencing more suffering, more pain, more resistance. So if you think about victimhood, victimhood is a low level of code. Code can also be synonymous in this context with consciousness. So if you're living your life and you're still blaming people, so and so did that to me, that's why I'm not here, because this person, that's a low level of code. You don't have as much power as you could.
Right.
Right?
Because you're giving so much of your input to things that essentially don't matter in the end, or the things that aren't contributing to your personal growth.
Yeah, well, just the fact that when you are a victim and you're vibrating in victimhood, like you're living as a victim, you are not able to actually take responsibility. Mm-hmm. So you don't have any power. So when something happens, it's like, what else can I do? I'm a victim.
Yeah.
Like, it's not fair. Mm-hmm. You know, and who becomes a millionaire through victimhood? You know?
I don't know any.
Who becomes into a great sense of fulfillment, power, and peace through victimhood? There's a certain dissatisfaction in victimhood. So that's my example when I say low level of code.
Okay, right? That makes sense.
And it's all relative, of course, but you know, I'm just using that as an example.
Yeah, it's kind of as like the groundwork for that. Okay, I get that.
But so I was saying that we are programmed regardless, and so I just want to make sure code is really clear. What I mean when I say code, it is our guide. Mm. It is our. We're not just every day. We're not just like randomly different things, right? So when we manifest things, when we build energy, when we accomplish something, we have the ability to focus and visualize and build momentum. And so it's not natural, I'll say. I don't think it's natural for someone to, I'm not going to say it's not natural, but it's not conducive to growth of a particular goal if you're not building upon something within yourself. So this is fun. This is cool.
Yeah.
First episode, just had to say that. I was like, man, I'm here real quick. But so basically, to get to a certain destination, you have to walk in that direction and continue walking. Mm-hmm. Reinforce that idea. Yeah. I'm becoming. Mm-hmm. And that is like a core part of programming.
Right.
And reaching, like a lot of the things in this podcast are going to center around a specific habit that someone can implement. A specific way of thinking, a tool, a distinction. That is super key. I want to make sure that people get, all right, so this is how I'm operating, this level of consciousness, this level of code. What's it going to take for me to go from being a $70,000 a year earner to $120,000? Like what is that shift in mindset, in code? In habit, in philosophy. Like, this has not been serving me because it's been getting me this result. Mm-hmm. And the cool things, I'm going to interview people that they have accomplished something, they have some sort of expertise, and they can kind of impart their wisdom, their code, and we can listen and decide if we want to go ahead and adopt it and utilize it because it's worked for them, right? And we might take what they said and maybe make it our own. But that's the goal. So the cool thing is, as you know, we did interview Jalen a little while ago. Yes. And
great interview.
Yeah, great interview. Look out for that. One of the things that he said, what he said, I use cheat code because people can get that. Like, cheat code is supposed to give you from here to there.
Like a
faster.
Shortcut.
Right. Yeah. Right. What he gave, you just gotta wait for the interview to come out. But what he said was like something really basic, you know? Mm-hmm. And it was so, because I listened to his story and I understood where he was and all that he's accomplished, this basic thing, I bought into it again because of who he was. I was like, you know what? That worked for him so well, and I already knew I should be doing that. Let me adopt that. Let me bring that back. Let me actually implement that. Like, let me really, it's kind of like relating to something. Let's say everyone's losing weight around you. Everyone's losing weight, but they're already not that fat. Like, but you're really, really heavier than most, right?
Yeah.
And then someone just as heavy as you loses the weight. You're like, oh, okay, that touches you. Like,
right.
Like you connect.
You see it as possible for yourself.
This guy was 28,
mm-hmm.
right? And
yeah.
So, does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I kind of want to, I don't know if you want to do spoilers or anything, but what was that one thing, or do you want to wait till that episode comes out?
I mean, I don't know. What you think?
For my own memory bank, because I don't, he said so much in that interview, and there are certain things that
He said, whisper. I'm just playing. No, I'm playing. They can probably hear because the mics are so good.
Yeah.
He said he meditates, and wait to hear from him.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember now.
Yeah.
His capture meditate.
His regimen of meditating is like, wow. I don't think I've ever met a human in society who does that.
Yeah, I mean, not personally.
To that degree.
Not personally, no.
Yeah. But that's that episode. So that's just an example.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with this whole creators conversation, I know you use the example of a person making, I don't know, $25,000 a year wanting to level up to $75,000, or a person making $75,000.
Does my hair look good down, or should I put it back?
It looks good down.
You sure I shouldn't put it back?
No.
Okay.
Your hair looks good down. I don't know why you don't wear it down. But anyway, I was making a point.
I know, I was totally not.
At all, looking at your hair.
Yeah.
But I think it just begs the question for a lot of people to ask. I know I have to constantly ask myself this question, is that what is it that I desire, and what do I want out of life? Because until that question is answered, it becomes a little harder to create. And so in this whole conversation of creation, I think it's important to also create a concept of where you're going and really hold that. And so from there, you can then create other pathways, other goals, other systems to get you to the ultimate thing that you're looking to create. So I think that's also a valuable aspect of this whole conversation. Yeah. I'm essentially talking about goals.
Yeah. No, I got it. Yeah, no, good.
Just for the people watching, I know you get it.
Yeah, but I had to, let me communicate that I get it. I get you. Okay. So that was good. That was really good. Like, you were talking about accomplishing your goals. You kind of took me off track by summarizing your own point, because I was going to feed into that. It's all good. It's all good. Accomplishing goals. So what were you saying with that? Because you summarized it.
I was just basically making the statement that in order to get into this mode of creation and creating habits and systems, you ultimately, before doing that, have to create a goal for yourself. And on a macro level, create a goal, and then create the micro goals to get to where you want to be. There's the whole macro-micro conversation.
Yeah, why is that important?
Because one, you accomplish things line upon line, precept upon precept, and even in the whole conversation of...
What's a precept?
A precept is just like one lesson, one teaching, one nugget at a time.
Okay.
One thing at a time,
mm-hmm.
simply put. So you have to master the small things before you can get the bigger things.
Yes.
It's like a person that has terrible money management habits. It's not going to make a difference if they win the lottery. And we see examples of this all the time. If they get $100 million deposited in their account today and they have terrible money habits and they're going to lose that money, it doesn't matter if the quantity is large, because they haven't implemented or created those smaller habits. They aren't able to take on the responsibility, or effectively take on the responsibility of something bigger.
This is really, really good. This is really, really good. It's amazing, because in our culture, society, time, we are illusioned with these stories and attractions of get 1 million followers and go viral.
Yeah.
I feel like we're losing, or we have lost to a degree, the practical, not the practical, like just being in touch with the process of growth. You know, it's like you're 22 and you feel like you should be a millionaire. Mm-hmm. And because you see millionaires do it, you see 22-year-olds do it, and it's like this pressure of, I'm not one of them.
Yeah. This
microwave, instant social media, like fastest internet ever. Mm-hmm. Fastest service.
Yeah.
It's everything's
interconnectivity.
Everything's just becoming faster. And so it's like short attention span. Mm-hmm. We are pushed to believe that, especially as younger people growing up in today's world, that we should be at this certain level. Mm. And we don't actually realize, like, we're here. Mm. And before we say, I want to be a millionaire, do we want the millionaire problems? Do we want the millionaire responsibilities, lifestyle, and I get it, you know, people learn their process, but it's like, it seems like people are so detached from what is good for me. Mm-hmm. And where I'm at right now, like, you know, just, and because of that, we don't honor the process of just being 30 and starting a new career, right? Mm-hmm. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to have a house and all my dreams. And no, it's like you kind of just became a recognized adult, and in a way, you're really like
in real life.
Yeah, because people still see me at, you know, I can disclose my age. That's fine. I can do that.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go to jail for
Okay. I'm 29.
Dun dun dun.
Yeah, so people see me as like a kid. It doesn't help that I'm so youthful. Yeah. And I don't know. I don't, just energetically. I think. Yeah. I'm not like facial hair, like, yeah, I know I don't have kids, you know, so I travel the world. People are like, oh, you travel all over, you know, so.
Oh, you're so cute.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely thought you were younger than me when I first met you.
You did?
Yeah.
Dang. Yeah, you did. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
That's one thing we didn't talk about. I kind of actually, now that you said it, I'm like, that would have been, we can do that. I think that's important. That's valuable. Like, context of who we are.
Oh.
What's our, you know.
Fair.
Yeah, how do we know each other?
Yeah.
Hey, we're just two people who started to fight, like, you know, some level of.
Yeah, I'm just random. He found me on the street.
Yeah. Hello, young lady. Do you want to be on a podcast?
Sure.
All right, get in the van. That's fine.
All right, you don't do that.
Make sure my mic is good.
At all.
You don't do that where?
In 2021 or like ever at all?
Yeah, no. But yeah, so my point was, people see me as this young kid, like, and I'm about to be 30, you know?
Dang, that's crazy.
Right? Like, I'll think from time to time, like, when does that transition happen? When do people be like, okay, we don't see you as a kid anymore? You know, I don't know when.
Yeah, that's a valid question.
And then at the same time, it's like, it's a process, gradual. It's like all perception. So some people will probably see me as an adult or older, and then at one point I'll notice maybe when 60% of people start seeing me a certain way, and I'll in my reality, I'll be like, okay, now I'm there. But it just goes to show, like, we don't, how you can really not. Age is a state of mind, and it's up to you with how you relate and express yourself, right? Because you really can be a mature 21-year-old, very mature, and you can be a very, very immature 60.
30-year-old or 60.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had this one lady tell me I acted like someone born in the 1950s, and that threw me all the way off because she herself more than likely was born in the 1950s. Anyway, that resonates. So clearly, it's actually really funny when it happens.
She said, you from my era.
Yeah, but like clearly you're 21, which I wasn't at the time, but face plus demeanor equals
baby face.
Giant question mark.
You got a baby face.
Yeah. I was talking to one of my to my instructor last night, and he was like, "So what are you now? 22?" I'm like, "No, I'm like pushing 30, dude." Like, I don't know. I thought that was funny. Off topic. You were saying.
So what are you present to with this podcast and Creators Code? What do you think inquiring minds want to know? Because honestly, guys, after this episode, I'm going to be interviewing guests, and I won't be talking so much. I'll be doing more listening and learning and intaking and dissecting people's language and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What do you think inquiring minds want to know for those rare day one? I see you guys, day one viewers of the Creators Code podcast. What do you think they want to know?
I think, what do inquiring minds want to know?
This is the foundation. This is the beginning. This is zero. This is episode 0. Forget 1, this is 0.
Episode 0. I think inquiring minds want to know, what I would like to know is why pick this subject over virtually a million, billion, trillion other subjects to base your podcast on. Why does this subject resonate with you to this extent?
Creating your life is everything. It's everything. That is your life. Everything's included in it. I didn't want to be limited to a certain industry or something like comedy where I felt like I had to be funny. I just had to. All right, guys. It's, episode of the comedic code. Sarai, like this. I don't want to have, like, I really value fulfillment, growth, evolution. I think we're going through such a evolution now in the world, and I want to stay true to myself, essentially. That's what I love to discover and create, is higher levels of living, potential being fulfilled, more peace, joy, love, freedom, fulfillment, passion, prosperity. I believe people care about these things the most anyway.
Yeah.
They're just not so conscious of it, or it's not so natural for them to intentionally seek that. Right? We all want the same things, but we aren't all able to consciously communicate like that, because we're at different levels of consciousness, different levels of life experience. I have to accept and allow that, or just let that be. There's people that are not ready to be aware that, oh, you know what? I've been selling these drugs and doing this with this gang, but I've been seeking acceptance all this time. Like, they're not ready for that.
Yeah.
It's true. They're creating that. They're just, their next level is, maybe there's more to life than this gang stuff. Right? I'm probably not going to have any gang members watching this.
You never know.
You never know, but
you never know.
Yeah, I just my mind is not like a Crip's, like, okay, all right, like.
You never know, man. Like, you really never know.
All right, I'm a hold space for the Crips.
Everybody has the internet, man.
That's true.
Everybody has.
I'm a hold space for the Crips and the Bloods.
Hold space for the Crips and the Bloods.
Yeah.
Because they're just necessary.
Yeah.
Isn't it interesting though how the things that are so really truly simple are the most complex and taxing for a lot of individuals because it hasn't been accepted in society, like processing emotions, processing thoughts, like you spoke on, just the need to be accepted or feeling the need to be accepted. But it doesn't, because communication is such a lost art in our culture, especially like in westernized culture or America, that we just don't know how to be straight. Like there's very little straightforwardness. Mm-hmm. And not even just in like physical language, but even just literally on a subconscious, level. So somebody that is dealing with acceptance issues or whatever doesn't really know or have the capacity or hasn't been taught the language or the tools to express that I need to feel accepted. So instead they go to join a gang or be a part of a club or just associate with people that aren't not necessarily have their best interest at heart, but they do it because of that like subconscious underlying need for acceptance, as opposed to saying like, I feel like I need to be accepted. And the irony is that as long as you're the first person that has to accept yourself first, I think that's interesting.
Yes, it's like how just the amazement that we can be so disconnected from what we really need.
Mm-hmm. Basically, yeah.
Yeah. And I hope my intention is that this podcast fills that gap, puts things in place, tools, habits, ideas, ways of thinking, so that we become more aware. Or maybe it's like, I'm sure at some point I'll have a therapist, and they'll break down, this is what therapy is. This is why it's important. And that person who was kind of thinking about it and knew about it is like, oh, I need to get a therapist. Oh, I can't actually, I don't know why I'm actually feeling the way. Like, this is going to help me,
Yeah, I'm of the like strong belief that therapy should be up there with yearly doctor visits as far as their level of normalcy, because it's just like when I was talking to my chiropractor about the importance of going to a chiropractor outside of just being in a car accident or from a reactive perspective. From a proactive stance, chiropractics deals with the nervous system, and if you actively treat and maintain your nervous system, it takes care of all of your other organs, because your nerves, your brain control your organs, essentially. So if you can have that infrequent, constant maintenance and upkeep, then you're okay. Not to say that you should neglect, any of those other pieces, but it just lays the framework for that. So in the conversation or topic of therapy, it's kind of like it does help a person. It can help a person become connected with their needs, and as a result of being connected with your needs, you're then able to again answer the question, what do I really desire out of life, and how can I go about creating that? But you can only get to that point if you only know what you need first and foremost. So yeah, I think therapy is really important. It's very, I'm seeing how imperative it is in the conversation of creation.
Yeah.
Because, your mind is a very powerful tool, but if your mind is working against you, because the mind bless its heart, is there to
bless the mind's heart.
Bless the mind's heart is there to protect you. But sometimes in it protecting you, it also prohibits you from the things that are going to make you grow or allow you to grow.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So just, I've seen how like having those tools can really move that conversation forward and aid in recognizing that, yes, that's there for protection, but this is what I need to do. This is how I need to behave. This is what I need to think to essentially move forward and create the life that I want. So, yeah. And not just for myself first, but also as a chain reaction in a way that'll benefit the whole of my family, society, humanity, whatever, you know.
Yeah, because it's like, how can you get to where you are, where you want, if you don't know where you are?
Yeah.
How can I create this situation where I don't even have an understanding of my current situation? That's key.
Yeah.
That's key. I really am always find myself seeking clarity. And I don't currently have a therapist. And I just, made a call to like seek some resources, some that are like not super expensive. Just find what works. I know it's out there, it's available. And I'm looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder what therapists look like in a primitive form. I mean, like the 1600s and stuff like that. Like the earliest form of therapy, because I mean, they're still humans and go through what they go through. I just had that thought. I'm always curious about the origin of things, because I see where we're at now, where it's not the norm. And so I'm curious, like, I ask that therapist whenever they come on here, when did we start?
I wanted to Google it while you're talking about it, because that's a valid.
It's kind of like, it's like, when did we start needing therapy? Like, what came first? The need for therapy or therapists themselves? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
Well, I said 9th century. Modern psychology also is often dated from 1879, but it also...
I'm going to get a therapist on this show. Best believe.
A long article. Hold on a second. 18th century.
I want you 1800s. While she's just reading, and are you scrolling or scanning? Or?
I am. And I also had a point in regard to that. I think with therapy, there's essentially at the core of therapy, they do offer like tools to help you get to the root of whatever you're going through, right? But a big part of, one aspect or one type of therapy is like talk therapy. And literally a lot of the time I found for me is that there's relief in just being able to express.
Yes, let's call
whatever
it labeling.
There. Yeah, you know what I mean? Labeling, and not even labeling, just literally just the aspect of expressing. Because I think another part of our culture is that there's this perception that everything should just be okay all the time. And if something's wrong, if you're having, some kind of struggle or hardship or thinking certain thoughts, then you're just crazy and people write you off as that.
Or like you said, what's wrong?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Not going on.
Yeah.
It's like, what's wrong?
Yeah. Yeah. Versus like, it's like in that book that we read about intimacy, and I do think this could have had an effect, and maybe whenever you get a therapist on here.
The book was called The Spirit of Intimacy, by the way.
Yeah, The Spirit of Intimacy. But I think there's something to, from a tribal aspect, having the resources of your community to be able to express the things that are going on, and for those people to be able to offer feedback in a would it be objective or subjective way? In a non-objective?
Non-subjective.
In a non-subjective
an objective way.
Yeah. So in a subjective way. And be able to offer clarity in that way, because there's an emotional attachment to you as a person because they care, but it's also not as emotional because they're looking at it in a way that isn't so direct to them.
That's so good.
And so they're able to be like, this is what's happening. This is how you could look at this differently, or whatever, tools, offerings, or whatever.
I've never even thought about that aspect. Yeah. That's so interesting, because I think of one of my friends in particular as like the closest thing I have to a therapist. Mm-hmm. I was like, dang, she almost suffices in a way, but she has that bias and the guidelines. So that's just a few of the things that why it's important. It's not just about having someone to listen, a quiet friend. It's about having someone with the right tools in place that can hear it and respond appropriately. That's big. Mm-hmm. That's big.
Yeah, but
I want everybody to get a therapist after watching this. If you don't have one, stop listening.
Therapy is fun, man. I get such a kick out of any therapeutic situation, because it's just, I just appreciate things being, with whatever I'm going through, someone being able to come in and offer a perspective that I'm not looking at it from, with the intent to essentially solve, rectify, improve, whatever
there's no fear of
situation is.
I'm not gonna be your friend anymore because you always. It's like, no, we're not friends. Yeah,
or just oh, you're losing it or crazy because you're thinking this way. That's a big one for me, or or just being a burden to somebody because you're going through whatever. But it's not even like that. It's just I need to get this out. Mm-hmm. And I think, I know I'm kind of on a soapbox right now, but I do think that there's some part of that that's been lost as far as that level of responsibility to care for each other in that way. Mm-hmm. To where a lot of, I can only speak for Western culture, but a lot of people in Western culture don't really hold that capacity, But that's just my thoughts on it, based on the original question. Mm.
I'll say this. In order to be a powerful creator, you need to have a great level of awareness of yourself, your situation first. And not saying you can't do it without therapy, but therapy is a great addition. I think it's when something's wrong with your car and it still rides fine, you can get from point A to B. But when you go to the mechanic,
they're like, "Oh, you got this wrong, it's
bruh,
right here, and it's it's
you've been losing all this gas and gasket. Man, I opened up the valve and this was passing. The smoke was coming through the defibrillator, bro. How do you even drive?" You're just like, "Well, I've been getting around fine." You know, I feel like that's what it's like.
No, that's real.
Yeah,
I would say therapy is good because it just allows you to get out of your own head. Because there's that adage, scripture that says the mind is also deceitful above all things, which is why, again, thoughts, affirmations, priming is important. And at the same time, recognizing that a lot of us are dealing with lifetimes of subconscious, unfortunately, negative behavior a lot of the time, traits that are rooted in survival. And so with that, it just, sometimes you just need the help, the assistance, the tools, the guidance, Yeah. Shout out to therapy.
Get therapy, everybody. It works. What?
No, I just,
You like the way I said that?
The PSA. I was giving PSA.
No, we need that. We need therapy ads. They're great. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, as we come to a close here in this episode 0, Is there anything? Is there any final words on the Creator's Code, and you'd like to ask, share that you think you're my voice of the people today? You know, she may be here sometimes, she may not. You may never see her again. Oh, you'll see her again, sure. Unless something kind of happens and we be beefing or something. You know what I'm saying? Anyway.
I have no further questions, Your Honor. I'm just excited to see the trajectory.
The trajectory?
The trajectory. That's good.
Yeah, that's good.
That's good. He got a trajectory, y'all.
Wow. Let's change the whole name of the podcast. Trajectory.
That's like slick pie. Just make it trajectory. Forget creators.
I wonder if that's like. I want to use that name.
Trajectory.
Yeah.
Trajectory.
Dang, this is good.
Fire.
This is good. This is what you get from organic stuff, man. Whew. Okay. I'm gonna change my Instagram name. Nah, that's too bad. You're right. No, that's not.
I'm gonna be like going through like my messages looking for trajectory, and I'm gonna be like, I got a message from trajectory. Like, who's trajectory?
Yeah, it's too much. Yeah. What about trajectory? No.
It doesn't have the same.
Anyway, I'm looking for a better Instagram name that doesn't have a number in it. But
really? Why? Story. What's wrong with the number?
It's just like, if I feel like the clean, best Instagram names don't have numbers unless it's like very intentional.
Really?
Like,
why'd you choose number 2? Oh, well, I know why you chose number 3. Well,
I made my email like 17, 18 years ago or something, a long time ago. Like it was Trajak because my grandma made her email Pearjack, and her name's Perry.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, my grandma did that. I can be Trajak. And then I think Trajak wasn't available by itself, so I added the 3 because that's my favorite number. I'm the 3rd, so.
How long had you had that email?
Like one of the first emails probably I ever had.
Okay, let's talk about how you used one of the first emails you ever had. You know how many emails I've literally started just within like the last 5 years? You get points for using your. How old were you when you started that email?
I was so long ago.
You were in high school?
Or before that.
Before high school?
Yeah, Trajak, yeah.
Yo, you have your. You just made me think of my first email address ever. It was Sarai dancer10@bellsouth.net.
Okay, that's not bad.
It's not, but like I've literally had so many emails since then. It's kind of ridiculous. And you've had the same one since before high school. That's talk about a clear mind.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's all right. If I could just be Trajak, I would like that. If I could just get Trajak or something like that, I'd be cool with that.
You want to do Trey Jackson?
No, I don't know my whole name. No, it's a username.
No, well.
Trajak's son, it just changes. It's not as cool.
Trajak.
Your name is Trajak in my phone. I mean, in your phone, my name is Trajak.
It is.
Did you like it?
I do.
Is there a 3 on there?
No.
I rest my case.
That's because it's a phone contact and not an Instagram name. Would you save me a cerebellum?
If I resonated with it enough.
Oh, you don't want to say a cerebellum. What are you doing?
I'm just moving my body. Because I did the first podcast. I recorded it. Probably shouldn't leave this part in the episode. But, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you. We want to thank you. For tuning in to the first beginning of the Creators Code podcast. It's going to be a beautiful journey. And you are going to become a better, more skilled, and effective creator. All right? This is the Creators Code, where you learn the code to creating the life you love. Well, that's enough of all that. Thank you, Sarai. Your silence says it all. She's very, Thank you so much for tuning in for this first episode of the Creators Code podcast. I hope to see you next week, where I interview my first guest that is unidentified, but I have a good idea and it's going to be great. So please come tap back in, tune in, check us out. Until then, keep creating. Well, they're going to keep creating. Keep creating the best you can. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks.